Hey, what's up everyone? So I'm making a video right now, a quick video, because I get questions all the time from friends, actor friends, people online, on Instagram, whatever it is, asking me how you, number one, get started in the voiceover industry, how you become a voice actor, how do you book jobs as a voice actor, how did you get started, just so many questions because there's not really a good guide or a good resource on how to get started in the industry and just how do you navigate your way through it. And for me, when I was getting started out, I never had that for myself either, and I just thought it was something very important and that something I wanted to do. I also, just been wanting to put more content out there to help people, help actors, because I wished it was there for me, and it's just something I want to do. So this is going to be kind of the first video. They'll probably do a second video because getting started off as a voice actor and getting into the industry, and then also how do you book jobs in the industry. I could go on and on about it. So I just want to get started off on this first video about how you become a voice actor and how you get started in the industry. So the first thing is, and I'm pretty sure this is self-explanatory, but it's practice. You got to practice, 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 practice. You got to be a good actor. Saying you want to be a voice actor is great and you can do funny voices, amazing, but you need to, a majority of the work in the industry is not going to be doing cartoons. I've done cartoons for Nickelodeon before. I had the privilege of working on a whole segment for the Nick Sports stuff. I do, this is getting to the more of the point, is that a majority of the work you're going to find as a voice actor, especially starting out, is in commercials. I've worked for AT&T, Staples, Toys R Us, the FDA, Dannon, Nickelodeon, like I've said. I've done a ton of stuff for them. I've done cartoon shows for them. You want to know how to be a good actor. It's not just about talent. You have to practice speaking, enunciating. Sometimes people want you to be very clear, very calm, very natural. They always say things in breakdowns like, we want someone very natural, not an actor. They'll say that all the time. They don't want an actor. They want someone like off the street. And that takes practice because sometimes as an actor, you get used to performing, especially if you come from theater, and sometimes for film, it can get a little subdued and people try to be a lot more intimate. You need to know how to do voice acting well. Sorry, my cat's here. See my cat back there? Sasuke. So you want to practice and you want to know what to do. You want to work on your voices. You want to work on different characters. It's not always about, something that I always found out starting out was, I always thought you had to have like a really great voiceover voice. I always wanted to do voiceover acting before I even wanted to be an actor. And I always thought you had to have like the announcer voice, the trailer voice, that deep voice, that resonating voice that I don't have. I have a very kind of zany or charactery, quirky kind of voice, and there's a place for everything. So don't let your voice quality or style deter you from pursuing the career. It's a skill set that you can work on and you can get better at. So that practice, get good at commercial material. So after you've practiced for a while, even while you're practicing, you can continue practicing by making a voiceover demo reel. And this is something I did, when I first started out. I didn't have any money. I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I liked making character voices, doing, these cool, really, smooth type of voices. I liked doing stuff like that, and I also liked doing, things from cartoons, from anime, from TV shows, these very cool, very outrageous voices, these skater type things. I wanted to do voices like that, and I was like, how do I differentiate them and make them unique and not similar to characters that already exist? So I worked on it. I practiced. I had my MacBook. I bought a microphone, and even if you don't have a microphone, you can use your MacBook Pro or even a PC. I'm a PC guy, but I'm talking about for laptops perspectives. Make your own stuff. Just work on different voices, record them, practice them. You never know when you want to pull them out of a hat. And this doesn't necessarily need to be the demo reel you use when you're, looking for an agent or a manager, which we'll get to eventually, but it's a way you can catalog these characters and voices you're doing. That's what I did. I made a really, really crappy voiceover demo. And then eventually, after you've made this crappy voiceover demo, you'll want to make a good one. People say, well, how do I make a good one? And there's a lot of different ways. You can go and buy one from a producer. You definitely want to have someone who's producing it for you, unless you happen to be a really great producer. You can get one done in a studio where you just come in, you lay it down, produce it yourself, or you bring the producer there. You can go to school. If you went to an acting school, they might have some sort of soundstage. I know in New York, Stone Street has some voiceover facilities. Maybe they can produce it for you there. You can, if you can't afford it, you can ask a friend who maybe has a sound booth in their place, see if they'll do you a favor, and if not there, you might want to approach somewhere smaller outside of the cities that you live in. If you live in LA, maybe in some of the suburbs areas, there's like a smaller studio, or in New York, you want to check New Jersey or Connecticut, somewhere where they do radio, see if you can use their facilities, somewhere where you can get access to not only a good mic, but good software and a good environment. So let's say you want to go, you don't have the money to afford it, maybe you can go and intern at one of these smaller studios. You know, do some work there and say, hey, you know, I'd love to know more about the business. Practice here, see how you guys work, see if they do anything. I remember I did a lot of dubbing for Turkish TV shows, and I got paid to do that actually, but I would have interned there if I could. You know, just to see how it works. I would have access to the facility, you know, get people to like you. No one wants to give anything away for free. They want to know who you are. You're much more likely to get something out of someone else if you've been giving them things. How are you valuable to them? Make yourself valuable to other people. Now, so let's say you have a voiceover reel. You got your demo, or either the one you've made, or you've got one produced at this point. You can start pursuing work on different websites like voices.com. I think there's Voices 123, Actors Access, Backstage, Voice Bunny. These are all platforms, casting networks, all platforms where you can go and search breakdowns and see people who are looking for actors of different types. And this is another great way for practicing. I've auditioned for thousands of voiceovers, thousands of them. And I don't book a majority of them, but it's great practice to see what different people are looking for. Try out different things. See maybe if the risk you take is something that's going to book you the job. So going back to the practicing now too, while you're on these sites looking for work, auditioning for a character versus a commercial can be different things. You want to know who you are auditioning for, who and what you're auditioning for. If it's something a little bit crazier, something like maybe like a Cartoon Network where things are a little bit more crazy and the characters are loud and explosive, then you need to know that that's the casting director or the director or the show you're auditioning for. Whereas if you're auditioning for like me, 16-year-old son, and I'm going, hey mom, do you mind if I borrow the keys after school? You want to know what you're auditioning for, when you should pull out the voice, when you should prepare a character, and when you should more than likely just be yourself. If a casting director likes you, they're going to keep calling you back in if you've done good work for them. And you can get access to these casting directors, and this is going to be more in the second video I make, but you can get access to some of these on these Actors Access and Casting Extras Backstage. So you want to constantly keep pursuing it. You're not just going to get the biggest audition of your life, you know, going in for Space Jam 4, you know, or whatever. I guess it's going to be 2 at this point. You know, right off the bat, you need to know where you're at in your career. And starting out, you're just more than likely not going to get those auditions. So if you're not, so say you're not getting success on any of these sites, which is very likely because there's so many people pursuing this industry, pursuing this job. Not, you know, think about how many actors, voice actors, people want to do that job. It is so fulfilling and fun. It's like playing for a living. You need to find different ways of making yourself unique and visible in the industry. Now, I'm very fortunate to have an agent, have a manager, to have booked work. I constantly audition. There's no such thing as job security. Even when you're famous, some people don't have job security. So what I would be doing, and what I do to a degree, is reach out to different content creators. The industry is moving away from TV and film. Look at YouTube creators, people who make their own animated shorts. Email them your resume, email them your voiceover demo. Just reach out and say, hey, I really love and admire what you're doing. If you're ever looking to have more actors involved, I'd love to just be involved. If you work in the city, I'd love to come out to the studio and see what you're doing, work for free, be a PA. You know, these are going to be the next big content creators. And if they do good work, you know, I'm not talking about Joe Schmo who does his daily podcast and has a random character that he uses made out of spaghetti, but who knows, he might become famous too. But reaching out to these YouTube creators and seeing you can get involved with them, that's a great place to start, and a place I would be looking if I was looking for work, looking to practice, looking to get, you know, even paid. A lot of these people have high budgets for these things they do. That's another great place you can look for work. Now here is something that I had done, and it's on the same line as reaching over to the YouTube creators, is reaching out to other successful voiceover actors. I hate the word mentor because it leaves you with the wrong expectation of the relationship. It's reaching out to people in the industry for help, advice, guidance, because they're not going to necessarily sit down and mentor you and watch your career flourish. If they do, amazing. If not, then there's still so much you can get from them. Voiceover actors, which is quite amazing, is they're some of the most humble people in the world. And they're accessible. Most of them have personal websites where you can see their email. You can reach out to them personally, and that's what I did. I remember I was looking up an article, and I saw this thing about Bob Bergen, who did the voice of Porky Pig, after Mel Blanc, and he had this article talking about when he reached out to Casey Kasem when I think he was very young, and he called his house. And his wife answered, and Casey got on the phone and had a phone call with him. And I remember I was like, if he could do that, why can't I do that? In life, you're gonna get 99 no's, but you might get one yes. And that one yes can change your life. It may not change your life, but it might get you in the next direction or teach you a valuable lesson. So I emailed Bob Bergen, and he got back to me, and he talked with me through email. I had a phone call with him, and he just gave me great advice that, I had to kind of search out on my own, and gave me pointers about the industry, and just he looked at my demo reel and he gave me advice on that and just helped me hone my craft. And I also reached out to another voice actor, Eric Vale, who does the voice of Trunks on Dragon Ball Z, and he got back to me. I Skyped with him. He took time out of his day to talk to me and give me pointers and give me suggestions. And a lot of voiceover actors, and myself being an actor, they're very envious and jealous of people who are in the acting industry, is something he told me. They want to be on the stage, they want to be doing other things. The point being is that they're very human and accessible, and they have aspirations and goals, just like anyone else. And if you have your shit together and you're not just Joe Blow who's, just working at the pizza shop and hasn't done a thing in his life, hasn't even attempted to make their own reel or anything like that, they're not gonna take the time out of their day to mentor someone. It's not a good return on their investment of time. If you have your stuff together, reach out to these people. See if you can, say, hey, I love the work you do in this show. I'd love to see, I've been wanting to get an internship. Do you think that's something you could refer me to the right person who I'd speak to about getting an internship for? That you want to be valuable to people, and then they'll want to help you. And then lastly, kind of the icing on the cake of the whole thing is you want to get an agent or manager. They're going to be the liaison between you and the higher profile jobs and how you can really kind of make your footprint on the industry. Now, how do I get an agent or manager? That's a whole ball game of things that I can get into, but I'm only going to touch on some specific smaller things. And a lot of people think, well, how do I get a voiceover agent? Well, right now, especially if you're around my age, a lot of commercial agencies also function as voiceover agencies. They're going to put you out for a lot of those similar jobs. If you have any headshots, you can pursue a commercial agent if you're an actor. If you're not an actor, you can still pursue a commercial agency by, getting your headshots or, your lookbook, whatever they call them now. I forget what they call them for models. Your lookbook of things, photos where you're basically not just a headshot, it's you and your body shot and stuff like that. You can get those taken by a photographer, and you can pursue a commercial agency that also has voiceover. That's how I did it. I had a manager, and then I got with a commercial agent, and then they started, shepherding me into voiceovers, and because I was so passionate about it and I practiced it, I did well, and so they kept sending me out on it, and that's how I established myself in the industry. So what if you're, for whatever reason you don't have any desire to pursue a commercial agent, you're just not either photogenic or you get shy or embarrassed, and that's why the voiceover industry is really appealing to you. Another way you can go about getting an agent manager is to take workshops or classes. And if you do good work, these agents or managers will notice it. You don't want to get into the trap of paying hundreds and thousands of dollars you could be investing into you and your materials and practicing in classes, instead of doing these showcases if you're not ready. So you want to know when you're ready. But you also don't want to become a professional student too, if that's a long-term problem that a lot of people get into as well. And by long-term student, I mean as people who don't actually pursue doing work and they only stay in the class. You should always be learning and always be a student, but you shouldn't be a professional student. That shouldn't be what you aspire to do in the industry. Other great ways of pursuing agents or managers are to cold email them or cold postcard them. I do it all the time. It's like this golden taboo rule. You shouldn't email agents or managers. Rules are meant to be broken. You gotta stand out. It's so hard. So many people want to do this. You need to stand out, but you need to be prepared and ready. You can't just be, again, Joe Blow who's selling pizzas, never done anything in their life. You want to have done some stuff. If you've done a couple of small gigs for like YouTube channels, or you've done a commercial for AT&T, then you can reach out. You want to be very professional and very human and endearing and real when you approach these people. I've been doing this, and this. I'd love to send you my demo reel if you have a chance. I really appreciate the work you do and the work your clients do. I would love to meet with you at a time of your convenience. And more than likely, they're not going to get back to you, but one might. One might get back to you. And a lot of people, there's especially as an actors, they get lost in this idea of like, well, I don't want to sign with a smaller agency because who cares? Work begets work. There's nothing is forever. If you work with a smaller agency and they are horrible for whatever reason, nothing is binding you to them for life. You want to start working. You want to get auditions. You want to start making content. And you could be doing it yourself, but that's a whole other investment and skill set. That's for another video as well. But agents or managers, reach out to them via email, reach out via, these workshops. If you know someone, if you can get a referral from someone, if you do good work, if you are ready, you cannot not be ready. No one wants to take a risk on someone who hasn't done anything. They want you to be something of value for them. So if you're already booking work and you're doing good work and you're getting paid, an agent's gonna say, well, they can make me money. Agent doesn't get paid unless you book work. So you need to book work. So that's a lot, but I hope this gets some of you started in this industry that is so hard to navigate. Use me as a resource, not as a golden rule. Other people will have different opinions on things, but these are things that have worked for me and I wish I had known. So thank you for watching. I'm gonna post another video eventually on how to actually book the work once you're getting the auditions and how to strategize for that. So thank you again for watching, and I appreciate you guys, everyone who's ever supported me in my career. I hope this is something I can give back to you, and I hope to hear your voice soon on a cartoon, commercial, or any form of content in which you will be performing in.